Hi, I and my buddy Joe English are sending our regards, and today we would like to answer some ACT English section test questions together. So, without further ado, let's share the PDF. Okay, so our um, message for today is entitled From Word Cross to a Crossword Craze. Okay, in the early 1900s, the fun section of the New York World is a Sunday supplement that presented puzzles to entertain the newspaper's readers. One no change world was world and colon world comma. So if we read uh, the fun section of the New York World, a Sunday supplement. This sentence lacks a verb, so we should use was here in B, so B is the best choice. So it would read um, the fun section of the New York World was a Sunday supplement that presented blah, blah, blah. So if we choose B, the sentence would be complete and it would make sense. So the best answer is B. Moving on to 2, one day, comma, in 1913, the section's editor, Arthur Wayne, was asked. So this is a question about commas. So the best answer would be G. If we look at G, one day in 1913, so this there would be a comma after the prepositional phrase or preposition and date, like in 1913 or in whatever date, we should put a comma after that. Then the section's editor, who, Arthur Wayne. So Arthur Wayne is an appositive, so we should put it between two commas. Arthur Wayne. So the best choice here is G. We should put a comma before and after the name Arthur Wayne because it's an appositive to the section's editor. And also we should put a comma after the date or because it is preceded by a preposition in. So G would be the best answer here. All right, moving on to number 3. Inspired by a game called Magic Squares from his childhood, Wayne drew up blah, blah, blah. So inspired by a game, okay, yes, so it makes sense. We don't need to change anything here. So no change, A would be the best answer. If you read it again, it would sound like this. Inspired by a game called Magic Squares from his childhood, Wayne drew up a variation, right? So it makes sense. Always try to read the sentence aloud. If it makes sense without changing anything, then that would be the best answer. Of course, you would look quickly at the other answers as well. Moving on to 4, Wayne drew up a variation that used a diamond-shaped grid, etc., etc. It sounds okay. Drew down, drew over, drew to. We should say he drew up a variation that used a diamond-shaped grid. So no change. F for number 4 would be the best answer. Moving on to number 5. After the Buzzles debut in December period, requests from readers came pouring in. So if we do that, then after the Buzzles debut in December would not be a complete sentence. That would be a mistake here. So no change is wrong. And also using a dash doesn't sound correct here. So comma is the best choice here. We should not use a semicolon. Semicolon is just like a period. So the best choice here is C. We have a after, which is a subordinating conjunction. It could be followed by a an IC or followed by a noun. So here, followed by a noun after the puzzles, blah, 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 comma, requests from readers came boring. Or we can say after the puzzle's success or whatever, requests came boring. So we should use a comma here, C. C is the best answer. If we read from the beginning of number 6, yeah, Wayne began including a word cross in his section every week, full stop. Usually one he wrote himself, but sometimes a reader. So this is an explanation of the word cross that he writes or used to write every week. So in this case, using a dash is the best answer. Okay, so H. So if we use a dash after every week here, he would then explain that word cross. He says, usually one he wrote himself, but sometimes a reader's submission. That's an explanation to the word cross. Okay, so if we move to number 7, by 1915, reader submissions arrived in such great numbers that Martha, blah, 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 name of somebody, Wayne's secretary, began this, began assisting Wayne and so on. Okay. So here putting a comma after that is not correct. So no change is not the correct thing. So just similar to the one that we did in, I think, number 1 or 2, Martha is Wayne's secretary. So Wayne's secretary could be an appositive to Martha. And so we should just choose B because that Martha Beth Bridge, that is her name, and then Wayne's secretary between two commas because Wayne's secretary is an appositive to Martha Betherbridge. Okay, so B is the best answer for 7. If we move Y because it's an appositive, we should put two commas before and after the appositive. Okay, let's read 8. Okay. Crossword devotees or lovers, let's say, would complain if there was even a small formatting flaw or factual error in the puzzles. Okay, there's a prompt here. If the writer were to delete the underlined portion, the paragraph would primarily lose what? Yes, a small formatting flaw or factual error. If we were to delete this part, the paragraph would lose an indication of the importance of the newspaper? No. Specific detail that helped the reader understand how seriously crossword enthusiasts took the puzzles? Yes, I think that's the right answer. An explanation of why the author is interested in crossword? No. An indication of readers' frustration? No. So G would be the best answer. It would just tell us how those enthusiasts or devotees, as they call them, to the crossword puzzle were. Okay, they took it seriously and they answered the crossword puzzle almost every week. Okay, moving on to number 9. Yeah. Uh, Betherbridge, that is the secretary, Martha, checked carefully for typographical and content errors prior to printing. It sounds correct. No change would seem the best answer here, but let's just thumb through the other ones. Prior to printing, checked for typographical errors. Who checked for? So B is not the correct choice. Carefully checked for errors. Yeah. Bridge carefully and then checked. No, we should not separate the adverb and the verb. So C is wrong. Checked prior to printing, typographical. So prior to printing should not be placed here. So I think the best answer is no change A, because it would read Petherbridge checked carefully for typographical and content errors. The word order is correct and the sentence sounds correct with no problem. So this is the best answer here. All right, now moving on to number 10. All right. Moving on to number 10. In line, fans of crosswords in crowds waited at the New York Public Library to use dictionaries to search for puzzle answers. Okay, so fans of crossword in crowds waited. Okay, in crowds waited, or in line waited fans of crossword, or fans of crosswords in crowds waited. Okay, or J, crowds of crossword fans waited. So I think that's it. So crowds of them waited to do blah 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 for the libraries to look up things in dictionaries to answer the crossword puzzle. So J is the best answer here. Okay, crowds of them, crowds of those lovers of crossword puzzles waited to do so and so. Okay, it has to do with the word order here. So J is the best answer. Okay. Um, Moving to 11, an immediate success when in 1924 it released a smash hit. So it here refers to what? And a fledgling publishing company became a an immediate success when it released a smash hit. Yeah, it refers to the fledgling publishing company. Yes, that's correct. So A is the best answer. 11A, no change, is the best answer. Let's move to 12. Released a smash hit, colon, the first book-length collection of crossword puzzles. Should we say that? No change? I think, yeah, because an explanation of that hit or that great success is the first book-length collection. Yeah, yeah, very huge collection of crossword puzzles, like a book of crossword puzzles. So that's an explanation of that hit or that success. So no change, F is the best answer. Moving on to 13. Though the 1920s was the time and age when crosswords were at the peak of the public's obsession, blah, blah, blah. No change, no. Signified that crosswords had reached the top peak, no. Indicated and signaled the peak, okay. Marked the height. I think marked the height. Though the 1920s marked the height of the public's obsession with crosswords, because there is no need to repeat the crosswords again. If we say no change, we have crosswords and then says obsession with crosswords. If we choose B, signified that crosswords reached the peak, and then it will say crosswords. Indicated and signaled. So indicate and signal are the same, as in C. So there's no need for wordiness. The shortest answer and to the point answer would be appreciated on the ACT if it is correct. And that's D, the shortest to the point and makes sense. If we read it one more time, though the 1920s marked the height of the public's obsession with crossword puzzles, blah, blah, blah. And then we complete. That makes sense. So D is the best answer. Okay, let's have a look at 14. It has a prompt. Read the prompt carefully first. Given that all the choices are true, which one provides the most effective and logical conclusion to this essay? So, for example, the puzzles and their um, cryptic clues continue to captivate audiences. So that makes sense, yeah, and it could be a good conclusion. But let's have a look at the others. Publication of New York World finally seized. No. Puzzles today often use clues that depend on puns and wordplay. These puzzles are published across the world. So I think the no change for 14 would be the best answer here. The puzzles and their cryptic clues continue to captivate audiences. This is the best or the most effective uh, statement to um, end that paragraph or the passage. Now moving to the last question, 15, reading 15. Suppose the writer's primary purpose had been to inform the reader about the origin of the modern crossword puzzle. Would this essay accomplish that purpose? Yes, because the essay tells how Arthur Wayne became a world famous crossword writer? No. Yes, because the essay describes both the inspiration for and the development of the crossword puzzle. I think that would be the best answer. It couldn't be no, yes, because it talks about the origin and how crossword developed by Arthur Wayne, and also it describes the inspiration for and the development of the crossword puzzle. So the best answer for question 15 is B. Um, as always, my tip for people who are taking the ACT, remain calm. And if there's a question that you feel would take time, like questions about where to put this sentence or something about the whole passage, leave it till the end. If you have time, then answer it. If you don't have time, then choose any of the distractors. Try to use the process of elimination, like cross out the one or two answers that you are sure are wrong, then you are left with two. Try to make a choice between them. Good luck to everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.